We're continuing our coverage on a barge that's been floating around different bays in Lake Michigan for 3 years now. It first sank in West Grand Traverse Bay in 2020 before ultimately ending up in Northport, where it still sits. UpNorthLive's Nicole Long has been following this story, and she joins us live from our newsroom with reactions to the ongoing dilemma the barge has caused. Nicole.
It's been about 2 weeks since crews got the barge floating again in a bay in Northport. Yet it still hasn't been removed from the view of neighbors, and we're being told that it started to sink again this past weekend, but appears to be floating again.
Frustrating, that you can't get an answer, but not surprising.
The Lanzits are two of the residents who've had to stare at this barge for nearly 2 years. Since it was first left behind their home in 2021, they've been working with the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy to move it, but Eagle can only do so much.
Eagle does not have regulatory authority over a vessel that is floating or at anchor in the lakes. So unless it is resting on the bottomlands or leaking any pollutants or is determined to be abandoned, then it's not subject to Eagle jurisdiction.
So why didn't Eagle take further action when the barge first sank in 2020?
We really weren't in a position to say, here's where you have to move the barge to, or here's what you have to do with it. The point for us was that it was resting on the bottom, needed to be off the bottom, and we needed to make sure that there were not pollutants being released into the water.
That point has now caused some residents in Northport years of frustration towards both Eagle and the owner of the barge.
One of the biggest problems we have is we don't feel that he's truthful in any way. It's very frustrating. 1 step forward, 2 steps back type of situation. One day you feel like, boy, this is going to resolve itself in a positive way. The next day, it's not.
That frustration is something Eagle is aware of.
We see the frustration that it's causing residents who want a permanent solution. And right now, that permanent solution seems to be elusive. So, we want to express interest in working with lawmakers to try to address situations like this and find a way, to responsibly handle situations like this in the future.
Although there are no proposals yet, the hope is to make changes to Michigan's law regarding situations like this one. But for now, the Lanzits are working with an Eagle detective for possible legal action.
They have turned that over to the Attorney General, and they've accepted the file, which I guess is better than rejecting the file. But where it sits now, it could be, underneath a stack of files, a foot high. And until they get to the bottom of it, it might not be looked at. There's no timeline as far as I can tell. And they won't give a timeline because then they're locked in.
When I asked Eagle's public information officer who does have authority over this situation, I was told the department isn't in a position to talk about it at this time, but they will continue to monitor the barge. Live in the newsroom, Nicole Long, UpNorthLive News.